Time to catch up on what's going on in the municipality of Saanich after council there officially adopted the Shelborne Valley Plan. What does that all mean? Dean Murdock, the mayor, joining us on the line. Sir, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. It's a nice warm day today. Great day to be thinking about getting outside and doing something. But instead, recently you've been, dealing with adopting community plans, which take a lot of time, a lot of revisions. But hey, you've got to this one. What's the Shelborne Valley Plan all about? What's going on here?
Yeah, we're thrilled to have finalized and adopted the new Shelborne Valley Plan. This is an update to a plan that was done in 2017 that applies to, obviously, the Shelborne Valley, the area along Shelburne Street and the neighborhoods around it, from Feltham, so north towards Pecoles, Mount Doug, all the way up to North Derry, just at Hillside Mall. And the new plan updates what had been done in the past. So looking at areas where we want to grow, what kinds of building heights we might look at, some of the green space that we'd like to either secure or improve, including the Boker Creek Greenway. And then, of course, what are the amenities and services that folks are going to rely on, ensuring that people have good access to school, parks, shopping, and all the services that they need in order to build and enjoy their lives in the Shelburne Valley.
Now, we spoke a lot about a different area plan over the last it seems like years. There was the Mackenzie, Quadra Mackenzie plan, which got a lot of pushback on density and different changes. How did this one compare to that process? Was there the same kind of concerns from residents, or did this one end up being less controversial? Or give me a sense of how this one went compared to that one.
I would say, yes, it was considerably less controversial. I mean, it's hard to compare. The Quadra Mackenzie plan really got, I think, started off on the wrong foot and was one that generated a lot of controversy, a lot of feedback, particularly when the initial draft looked at dedicated transit lanes on Mackenzie. A lot of that has settled, but there's still issues that council works through as we look to finalize that plan. That actually will come up for a public hearing on June 16th. So folks will have one more opportunity to weigh in on that one before it's finalized. In comparison, Shelburne proved to be much less controversial, certainly not without some issues. Council did reduce building heights in certain sections of the plan. So in most cases, you wouldn't see buildings taller than 6 stories along the Shelburne corridor. But largely, I think because the groundwork had already been laid through the 2017 plan, it was a much smoother and I think a much more collaborative and productive process.
Now, as always, it's good, I think, to clarify that these plans are just sort of a blueprint for the things that could be allowed. They're not necessarily a statement of what is happening. It's not like we're jamming a bunch of buildings somewhere. They're just like, hey, if developers want to apply to do something or, whatever is happening, here's just sort of a guideline for what we kind of pre-approve as like the way we want to see things happen. So but with that said, what kind of things do you expect to see change out of this? Like, are there, some nodes that are looking more dense? You mentioned 6-story buildings. How is that a big difference from what was there before? Give us a sense of how this changes things.
So, just to your point, and it's one that I think required clarity throughout the process. These are just plans. It's not an actual rezoning. It's not green lighting development projects. It's a vision for what the corridors will look like. And so there is always further process involved where we would invite public input on any decision for development or changes in the corridor. But that being said, it does create a blueprint for us to follow and create expectations about what development and amenities and services in the corridors is going to look like. And largely, I think the difference between this version and what existed previously would be acknowledging 6-story wood frame is the dominant building form along the corridor. That doesn't mean into the neighborhoods, but along Shelburne Street.
As opposed to what was there before?
In a lot of cases, the plan had said 4 with the potential to go to 6.
Okay.
But it also acknowledges a range of building types that I think was absent in the previous plan. So a lot more low-rise apartment, townhouses, duplexes, triplexes, and of course incorporating what the province has allowed with small-scale multi-unit housing. And then I think importantly, some better definition around the kinds of amenities and services we would require, how we are connecting people to those services, creating a village-type atmosphere, Cedar Hill, Crossroad, and Shelburne as an example. A place where people don't just travel through, but come to spend time, where they come to get their goods, and really fostering that sense of community.
What's next for the plan?
Well, that one, now that it has been finalized, will help council make decisions or guide council through decisions that affect the corridor. There's been, as folks know, a lot of new projects going on in the Shelborne Valley, including the completion of the Shelburne Street Improvement Project, which is just about finished. That's bringing bike lanes, sidewalks, and a much improved street environment for folks along that corridor, as well as refreshing some very old infrastructure underground. All of that is just about to wrap up, and then we'll see over the course of the next few years more buildings come along, and hopefully more services like cafes, restaurants, doctors' offices, and parks and green space for folks to have and enjoy.
Texter would like to know why transit lanes allow for taxi and Uber and carpool. That's interesting. I don't actually know the answer to that. Any sense of that?
Whether those things would be allowed, I don't know the answer to that, but I can certainly check with our staff.
Sorry, just getting random texts from listeners with questions for you. I didn't know if that was something that was up as part of this. Anyways, we're talking to the Mayor of Saanich, Dean Murdock. We are looking at the finale of that particular plan for the Shelburne Valley. That's the story. That's what's changing, and in some senses not changing too much. And then anything else on it that we missed?
That I think we've covered Shelburne. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the planning process that's underway on the other side of Saanich, and that's the Tillicum Burnside Plan.
Okay, yeah.
That's a process that's underway, very similar to Shelburne, where we're looking at the Tillicum and Burnside and Gorge corridors and the neighborhoods around them. There's one more open house to take place for that. That's tomorrow night at the Gorge Pavilion between 4 and 8 p.m. And there's a survey online as well at hello.saanich.ca. Really strongly encourage anyone who lives in the area or folks who use that area regularly or maybe are looking to settle in that area to participate in the process. That will guide council over the coming years in making decisions about the future for the Tillicum Burnside neighborhood. Great part of Saanich and an area that I think is in need of some attention, and hopefully this plan will help guide some thoughtful decisions about its future.
Mayor of Saanich, Dean Murdock, always a pleasure. Thanks for keeping us up to date on what's going on.
Thank you, Ryan. Always enjoy the chance to chat with you.